So again, this is the dailymail.com. This is actually from today. And this is says the Flash first look. Michael Keaton is spotted on set ahead of donning the Batman suit. And Sasha, I guess it's either Calais or Calais, is hoisted into the air as the heroic Supergirl during filming at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. This is by, looks like Aisha Nazari. Apologies if I'm saying the names wrong. It's not my intention. I thought it'd be fun. I'm not going to really read too much of this, but we're going to mostly just focus on looking at the photos and see what we think. So it says the Flash's star Sasha Calais, Ezra Miller, and Michael Keaton filmed scenes for the much-anticipated DC Comics-based film in London on Sunday. Set for a November 2022 release, Calais 22 was snapped being hoisted into the air while wearing her Supergirl costume as Miller 28 stood on the cathedral steps wearing a suit and tie alongside Keaton 69. I don't know why we're doing all these ages. Helmed by director Andy Muschietti, a sleek Mercedes Maybach thought to be Keaton's Bruce Wayne's car was also seen on the film set, with prices for the luxury vehicle starting at, I'm not exactly sure what is that, pounds? 183
pounds.
Okay, 183,000 pounds. Not the weight, those of us in the US, that's supposed to be money. All right. So yeah, I just thought we'd take a look at some of these pictures. Here's Keaton. You can see him there. And then they've got some other kind of cool photos. You know, they've been kind of tweeting stuff out. I think Andy Muschietti's been primarily doing it on Instagram. He's been, promoting pictures of these different, like there was a look at the Keaton suit with kind of blood spattered on it. There was an updated version of the Flash's costume. And then I think it was just last week, he showed off an image actually of the Supergirl costume. And then here we're seeing it right here. I have a feeling that it is going to have a cape at some point, but it'll probably be added in later. It seems like that's what they like to do these days, is add the cape in post as an effects shot. But no, yeah, I thought this was kind of interesting. And it's important to remember too, everybody, that this is the Flashpoint. So they are basing this. This is going to be an alternate reality. This is not going to quote unquote be the main DC timeline. So they're going to be playing with the concept of the multiverse, and you're going to see different versions of characters. For example, we know that Ben Affleck's Batman is going to be in this, as well as Keaton's Batman. And then obviously we have essentially a new version of Supergirl here. And I actually think that this Supergirl, I can't remember this character's name, but this is not actually Kara Zor-El. This is someone else. I can't remember if it's Vara Zor-El or whatever, but this is actually a completely different version of Supergirl that was actually introduced in the Superman 10-cent adventure, I think back in the mid to late 90s. So this is a different Supergirl. This is not Kara. I thought these pictures kind of cool. What do you think, Eric?
Well, I think if this was intentionally leaked, this may not get the response that they're hoping for. Now, I will say Supergirl was trending right before we went on the air, so they are getting some sort of attention. At least I saw that it was trending on some form of Twitter. I never know whether that's a legitimate trend or if that's something that's being promoted, because that does happen. Sometimes they promote things and you can't exactly tell whether it's legitimately trending or if the studio is just paying money to actually advertise that particular thing. I don't think these pictures are particularly flattering. That's just me. I mean, that's my impression. It's kind of funny because I was not familiar with this actress at all. My understanding is she's actually most famous for a soap opera. And I went online. By the way, that's a good picture to illustrate my point. I went online and I looked at some pictures of her where she looks absolutely gorgeous. And I don't think the short hair helps. I don't think it works for her. And I'm not sure why we constantly see this. Like, I never understood, like in the, what was it? The Endgame version of Captain Marvel, where Brie Larson had the little pixie cut thing or whatever. I just like that, to me, doesn't complement her face well at all. She looks much better, in my opinion, with long hair. And I would say the same thing of this actress. But when you see her kind of hoisted up, to me it just doesn't look very flattering. So I do wonder if these were intentionally leaked, or if somebody was able to get these pictures, somehow secretly. I feel like the way that security is on these sets, this stuff has to be intentionally leaked. So I am curious to see what other people are going to start saying, and whether this does good for the production or not. Because my personal opinion, I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I've seen pictures of her where she looks much, much better. And I'm not familiar with this actress. I just looked at them online before the show, knowing we were going to talk about this. And she looks much, much better in some of the other pictures that I've seen of her.
Okay. I'm going to try and scroll down so we can see some of the other pictures, but the website is acting up. I'm not sure if it's something with my internet, or if it could just be the fact that the Daily Mail doesn't want us to be showing stuff on their website, which is funny because the reason we try to show it on their website is so if you want to go check it out, you'll actually go visit their website, which I always find kind of funny. Otherwise, we would just, screen grab the pictures and
yeah,
not
we've
even
talked
bother.
about that. I think that's what we're going to have to start doing more going forward, is just start screenshotting stuff and just sharing the pictures that way, because we both have this problem. And Dave and I live in different parts of the state with different internet service providers, and we both tend to have issues like this when we're trying to share stuff sometimes. So we do apologize for those technical problems, but that could be part of it, Dave, is they don't even really want us to be sharing this stuff,
Yeah. So. But anyhow, you can see Keaton there. I think Keaton looks pretty cool. I was going to try and show these pictures of this car, but it's definitely acting out. Let me see if I can refresh the page. The car was kind of interesting looking, actually, if I can just get to it. There you go. All right. So here's one of the pictures they showed of Ezra Miller actually on the set. Obviously, he's in his civilian attire. I thought it was interesting he's wearing a suit, though, because when we saw him in the Justice League movie, he didn't strike me as the kind of person who would wear a suit. What do you think, Eric? Do you think he'd be the kind of person who would wear a suit, or do you think this is the...
Well, now that he has a real job, maybe, right? Because wasn't that part of the end of Justice League, was that he finally got the job that, remember, we kind of commented that doesn't quite make sense, because he's supposed to have the job first and then have the lab accident. That's what gives him the powers. Now he, I guess, was born with the powers or something like that. We don't really know. And he got the job after the fact, the one at the crime lab.
Right.
Because that was a major plot point we discussed in our review of the Justice League film, the Snyder Cut.
Right. And then I had one other image I wanted to bring up here real quick. And again, apologies here. I must sometimes feel like I need 3 screens. All right. So there's the other one. So this is that car that they mentioned in the news article that they were thinking might actually be, Bruce Wayne's car. And I thought it was pretty interesting looking. I mean, with it being the way it looks, I mean, it almost, to me, reminds me a little bit of either the 89 Batmobile or even the animated Batmobile because of how stretched it is. I mean, what do you think, Eric?
Yeah, that is a really interesting looking car. Obviously, it's incredibly expensive, as apparently the article mentioned. But yeah, you could definitely see that, sort of existing alongside the Batmobile. I mean, that's a pretty crazy looking car.
It almost kind of reminds me, even though it's not the same thing at all. Did you ever see League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Parts. That was a difficult thing to watch for me. So I think there's parts I've seen, and that's about it.
I quite enjoyed League of Extraordinary Gentlemen back in the day, and I actually own it. And it was interesting because in that one they had that long, stretched out car.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember the car.
And the definitely not the same thing at all, but it does kind of remind me of that a little bit because of how stretched out it is. I just thought it's kind of interesting. I thought it'd be worth talking about on Pop Culture News. So there you go. That's it. That's all I wanted to cover. I just thought it'd be fun to talk about some of these photos that have come out for for the Flashpoint. I guess we're just going to call it Flashpoint. I don't see why you call it the Flashpoint, but I don't know. There you go. So
I'm definitely more excited about seeing Keaton's Batman come back, hopefully, than I am about Supergirl right now. I'm going to say that.
well, I guess for me, I'm curious to see the film just in general. But on the flip side of it, I should probably be more saddened or upset about it, simply because of the fact that, judging by everything I'm seeing, very clearly they're not going to be pulling inspiration from Flashpoint, which was one of the DC Comics series. I actually worked on Flashpoint Wonder Woman. And Scott Clark and I did the majority of the Wonder Woman stuff actually for the Flashpoint series. Actually, it was a couple artists who came in behind us who had to finish out kind of what we started because they wanted some Batman Incorporated. It's a long time, tortured story. But anyhow, I feel like that I'm unfortunately not. I was kind of hoping I might get to see my name like in the credits somewhere, maybe just a little bit of a mention, if they showed, any version of the Aquaman or the Wonder Woman outfits that we actually designed for Flashpoint, that were part of our contribution anyway. It's like the Flashpoint animated movie. The only thing that remains is this weird sea monster, this Kraken sea monster. Is the only thing that really remains from what Scott and I did, because they changed it so much for the animated film. It looks like they're doing the same thing for the live action.
Is there a big red flag for you at this point that tells you, that they're going in a different direction?
Well, the thing of it is, the Flashpoint story, while I enjoyed working on it because of the creative freedom that we were given, judging by how everyone's treating the source material, I don't think anyone in a Hollywood capacity considers Flashpoint to be, something that's, that you can't mess with, because everyone changes everything about it. It's like the only thing that's important anymore is just the name Flashpoint. What actually happens in it. I mean, the only thing is Barry will save his mother and everything changes. That's the only thing from Flashpoint it seems like that everyone always holds on to. And then they change everything else from the Flashpoint storyline. So by the time they're done with it, it bears very little resemblance. The animated film is the closest, but even the animated film takes a lot of liberties. So I don't know. I don't know if I call it a red flag, other than it pretty much cements the fact that when I go see the movie in the movie theater, I won't see my name in the end credits with a little thank you. I won't see Scott's name up there as a little thank you, because they're going to probably throw away most of what Scott and I did, just like what they did with the animated film. So
that's disappointing.
Yeah, it is what it is. So anyhow,